Hi everybody, my name is Mr. Steve and today is Earth Day, so we're going to be doing an Earth Day story time and craft program. Happy Earth Day to you. Well, what we're going to do today is we are going to read two stories. We have two crafts to show you and there's a little game in between that I'll show you how to play. First, let's start with a story that has our favorite pig in it, Peppa Pig. And after we do our first craft, we're going to read a story about Katie Woo. Peppa Pig and the Earth Day Adventure. You know, we live on the earth. And we always should take care of the earth. And that's what Earth Day is about. It's about reminding us to take good care of the earth. It's Earth Day, and Peppa Pig and her family are ready to celebrate with a visit to the botanical gardens. Before they go, Peppa and George sort the recycling. Newspapers go in the red bin, cans go in the blue bin, and bottles go in the green bin. Vegetable scraps and eggshells go in the compost bin, said Peppa. Grandpa Pig will use the compost in his garden. Ew, said George. It's time to go, and Daddy Pig has a surprise. It's an electric car. The car runs on batteries instead of gas. That helps the air stay clean. The car even has a name. His name is Roger. This car can drive itself, said Daddy Pig. Peppa and George look out the window on the way to the botanical gardens. Look, says Peppa, a windmill. Ooh, says George. Mr. Bull built a windmill near my school, says Peppa. The wind turns the blades and they make electricity. Ooh, said George. At the botanical gardens, Peppa and her family meet Miss Rabbit. Welcome, she says. Would you like to see the wildflower garden? Oh, yes, please, said Peppa. Look at all the bees, says Mummy Pig. The bees and flowers help each other, Miss Rabbit tells them. The bees take the pollen from one flower and move it to another. That helps the flower make seeds, which grow into new flowers. Bees are very important. The bees take some of the nectar back to the hive and they use it to make honey, said Miss Rabbit. Peppa likes honey. George likes honey too. Peppa and her family visit the room with cacti and palm trees. Peppa sees a new plant. What is that? She asks. That's a Venus flytrap, says Miss Rabbit. It eats flies. What? Peppa and George watch while the plant eats a fly. Wow, said Peppa. Chomp, says George. The next room is very wet. This is the Rainforest Garden, says Miss Rabbit. These plants need a lot of water. Miss Rabbit flips a switch and turns on the rain. And I like this picture here because Peppa and George are happy to see the rain. Not everybody's happy to feel the rain though, huh? Next, they head outside to the children's garden where they find something really special, a muddy puddle. Peppa's friends are visiting the botanical gardens today too. Oh, hello, Susie Sheep. Hello, Pedro Pony. Hello, Mandy Mouse, she says. On the way home, Daddy has a rest while Roger drives the car. It's like magic, says Peppa. Police officers, Panda and Squirrel, stop Daddy Pig's car because Daddy Pig does not have his hands on the wheel. Oh, but it's okay. Roger's driving. Roger shows his driver's license to the officers. Isn't that silly? A car with a driver's license? It's dark when the family returns home. It's been a great Earth Day. Will you be all right out here, Roger? Asks Peppa. Oh, yes, says Roger. Good night, Peppa. Good night, Roger, says Peppa. Happy Earth Day. And that was Peppa Pig and the Earth Day Adventure. Now, there are lots of things that we saw in that story about ways that we can help save the earth. Do you remember any of them? Well, I'll tell you some of them were recycling. Recycling was one way, wasn't it? You can recycle instead of throwing things in the garbage. If they're recyclable, you can put them in the correct recycling bin. Also, composting. That was a good way to help the environment. What's another way to help the earth? Do you remember seeing the windmills? Windmills make the electricity. And the car Roger was something that used electricity to drive and not gasoline. And what did we learn about the bees? Do you remember? Remember the P word? They pollinate. So bees are really important. We can help keep pollinating bees safe. That would be a good way to help the earth too. What we're going to do right now though is we're going to make a craft. Now this craft that we're going to make to start with, in order to make it, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need a coffee filter, and we're going to need some markers, and we're going to need a piece of paper. You can use any kind of paper you want to. And this is a good way to recycle maybe coffee filters that we're not using anymore. Let's say that your grown-up decides that they don't want to have coffee anymore, but they have a whole bunch of coffee filters, or maybe they just drink out of the Keurig and they use K-cups. Well, anyway, you might have extra coffee filters. And I thought it would be fun for us to make the earth. So in order to make the earth, the two colored markers I would suggest you use is blue and green, because that's the colors we see from outer space. What you want to do is take your coffee filter, put your coffee filter on a piece of paper, and then just start scribbling with the blue and the green. Okay? Once you finish doing that, then you get out some water. Now, this is inside of a Windex bottle, but it's not Windex anymore, it's water. So what you're going to do is once you have all of your markers covering the entire coffee filter, you can use your spray bottle and spray 2 or 3 times in the middle of your coffee filter and wait about 5 minutes, and you can watch as the water spreads over the markers and spreads the markers out. After 5 minutes, if the outsides are still looking like they have not gotten any water on them, you could spray a little bit there too. But be careful not to spray too much water, because if you spray too much, it makes the colors kind of dilute so they're not quite as bright. I'm going to show you what mine looks like. See? That's the one I made. Isn't it neat? If you were looking from outer space, you might see Earth look this way. What color do you see more of on my coffee filter, blue or green? Blue. Yeah, right. Now, blue represents what? The oceans, the water. And green represents the land. And we definitely have more oceans than we have land. So on yours, if you want to make it true to the real Earth, you want to have more blue than green. Okay, so you can try that craft. That'll be fun to do. All right, let's read the Katie Woo story. Oops. Katie Woo story is called Katie Saves the Earth. And this is by Fran Minushkin. Fran writes all of the Katie Woo stories. And this is a little longer kind of book, but it's not going to take too long to read. Earth Day is coming, said Miss Winkle. How can we keep the earth green? We can paint it green, said Katie Woo, but we'll need lots of paint. Well, that's not what I mean, said Miss Winkle. I want to keep the earth green by taking care of the plants and the trees. They need clean air and water. I know what to do, says Jojo. We can fix leaks in our sinks. Then we won't waste water. That's a great idea, said Miss Winkle. We can reuse things, said Pedro. My little brother sleeps in my old crib. I want to do something great for Earth Day, said Katie. I'm sure you will, said Miss Winkle. I know what to do, said Katie. I'll have a yard sale. My friends can bring things for people to reuse. That will make the earth happy. And chapter 2 is about a yard sale. On Earth Day, Katie put her old toys on the lawn. Are you sure you don't want them? Asked her mom. I'm sure, said Katie. Jojo brought a teapot without a top and a broken lamp. Who's going to want those? Asked Katie. Pedro brought torn jeans and books. Nobody's going to want those either, thought Katie. Soon, the first shopper arrived. It was Miss Winkle. She told Pedro, I can turn your jeans into a tote bag for my books. That's a great way to reuse jeans that are old. Pedro's little brother Paco grabbed Katie's old elephant. Hey, yelled Katie, I put that outside by mistake. Katie ran inside and put the elephant back on her bed. She did not want to sell that one at the yard sale. Then Katie went back outside. I hope more people come, she said. But nobody did. What can we do? Katie asked her friends. Pedro's dad picked up Jojo's lamp. I can fix this and use it at work, he said. Yay! Yelled Jojo. Pedro's books look great, said Jojo. I can take them home to read. That's terrific, yelled Pedro. All my stuff is gone. I know, I can put my paintbrushes in Jojo's teapot, said Katie. Yay, cheered Jojo. Now all my stuff is gone too. But none of mine is gone, sighed Katie. And chapter 3 is called Smart Reusing. Just then, little Paco fell down. He cried and cried. Katie patted him, but he kept crying. Poor Paco, she said. I have an idea. Katie ran into her house, and then she returned holding something from behind her back. What do you think it is? Surprise, said Katie. Here's my elephant. Paco hugged it and smiled. When I was little, said Katie, the elephant made me feel better too. That is smart reusing, said Katie's mom. But are you sure it's okay? I'm sure, said Katie. Paco and I are both happy. The birds were singing and the air smelled sweet. The earth looked happy too, said Katie. And it did. And at the end you can see a glossary that tells you some of the words that you might not have known, and it tells you what they mean. But that's the end of that story. Katie saves the earth. Do you remember some of the ideas that they had in the story to help reuse things or to help save the earth in different ways? Remember, what did they say in the beginning? I think it might have been Jojo about the leak in the sink. Yeah, she made sure to fix the leak so then water wasn't being wasted. And then did we hear that Paco uses the old crib? That was something. And what was the teacher, what did the teacher use? Do you remember? For was going to use the jeans for? That was going to be for a new tote bag. And then Katie was using paintbrushes to put inside of the old teapot to make that didn't have a cap on it. Couldn't be a real teapot without a top. So she used that teapot to put paintbrushes in. There are so many wonderful things that you can find to reuse. And oh, another thing, that broken lamp that we saw from Jojo, do you remember that? Well, Pedro's dad was going to fix it and use it at work. That's a good thing that she brought it there to see if anybody can reuse it. Otherwise, she would have just thrown it away and it would have not been good use at all. But those are some great ideas for Earth Day. I'm sure you can think of lots and lots more. At this point, it would be wonderful if I showed you a craft that you could make to reuse things. But I'm not going to. I'm going to show you a different kind of craft that has to do with the earth. This is a craft that could possibly take a really long time for you to do. So I'm just going to show it to you, and you can take as long as you want to make this craft. I have a piece of paper that has the earth on it. This is a picture I found on the internet of the earth. And I put blue where the ocean is, and I put green where the land is. Okay? And what you can do, if you have some extra paper that's being ready to be recycled, and one's blue and one's green, you can use this paper to make the earth. It's really neat. It's fun to do, but it takes time if you want to spend the time to do it. I'm going to show you what mine looks like. I just tore off pieces of blue and put them for the ocean, and then I tore off pieces of green and I put them for the land to make the earth. And you could do that too if you want to. The last thing I want to show you is a game. And I think Katie would really like this game. If you want one of these game boards, you can send me an email and I will send you the game board so that you could do this too at home. Oh, also, silly me, I forgot to mention that we do have some more kits available at the library. They're in an envelope, manila envelope, and you can make all these crafts by getting one of those envelopes here at the library while supplies last. And I trust that you're gonna find good use for that envelope when you are done taking everything out of it. Okay, so here's the game board. And also inside the envelope is a piece, or is a dice, or a die. Is it one die or one dice? I never know. But anyway, there's one of these things. Here's how the game works. You can play with as many people as you want to. You start off at start, and then you roll the dice, and you go down like this. And then doot, 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 doot. If you land in a space that has nothing written in it, you stay there. If you land in one that has writing in it, you read the writing. If the writing is next to something that's white, an arrow that's white, that means it's good news. It's something that you did that helped the earth, so you get to move ahead. If you did something that hurt the earth, there's a black arrow and you move backwards. I'm gonna just show you what some of these are. All right, let's see. Well, you know what? I'm gonna roll. I got a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's blank. So let me try another one. 1. That's 5. Okay, it says, well done. You rode your bike to school instead of getting a lift, helping to reduce air pollution. So then you get to move ahead to 14. All right, I'm gonna roll it again. Now I got 3. 1, 2, 3. It says, hooray, you swapped a book with a friend instead of buying a brand new book. That reduced waste by reusing, so you move ahead again. All right, I'll show you some other ones that are bad. Let's see. Groan. You left the tap water dripping when you washed your hands, wasting water. So you have to move backwards. Another bad one is, whoops, you put an aluminum can into landfill and it could have been recycled. Move back. And then, oh, I gotta tell you this one. This is the last one on here. It's right before the end. It says face palm. You went for a hike and left your trash behind. Littering nature for everybody. I love hiking, and it always makes me really sad when I find people's garbage here. So that one's definitely a whoops that you go backwards on. And then I will do one more. Let's see. This is a good one. Excellent. You used recycled materials for your craft project. So that's good. Anyhow, like I said before, if you want one of those game boards, you can send me an email and I will send it to you. I did not make it, but I found it online. And I wanted to say, Happy Earth Day to you. That's the end of our program. I hope you had a good time, and maybe you will look around and find different things that you can do to help the earth. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.